Everyone, Pam Gregory, astrologer. I'm going to be speaking to you today about the second half of June and the new moon that we have coming up in Cancer on the 28th or the 29th, depending on where in the world you live. Now, I've already filmed an hour's video with David Farrell, conversation with David Farrell about the Cancer solstice, which is, of course, a very important part of this second half of June. So rather than repeating everything I said there, I'm just going to put the link for that video below and you can go and check that out. And I think what's going to be very helpful there for you is I'm not just talking about our regular planets, I'm also bringing in the Kuiper Belt objects, or some of them, that are forming very hard, action-oriented aspects at that Cancer solstice. Summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, winter in the southern, because some of the Kuiper Belt objects are coming together in a cardinal T-square. If you add the sun into that at 0 of Cancer, it actually forms a cardinal grand cross, which is, as I say, very action-oriented in terms of bringing in a new higher consciousness. And I'll leave you to check out the video below to get the rest of that conversation. So I'm going to be missing a chunk, if you like, in this video out of the second half of June, and that's why this update is going to be a little shorter. So I'm going to pick it up on the 27th of June, because on the 27th of June, Mars in its warrior sign of Aries comes to conjunct Eris at 25 degrees of Aries. Mars, remember, is out of bounds beyond the normal 23 degrees north or south of the ecliptic. So it means it can take on a slightly out of control aspect. That's running until October. But Mars in its own sign coming together with Eris. Eris is is said in myth to be the sister of Mars. She is also warrior energy. And Aries in general is about the individual. The keywords for Aries are I am, I exist. So it's very much to do with a sense of sovereignty, with independence, and very much focused on the single individual, as it were. Eris, as you will know from the myth, because I've talked about it a great deal, is that goddess of chaos and discord who really stands up for the rights of anyone who is not in the majority, who's been excluded or on the periphery. She wants everyone to be heard and everyone to be included in society. And therefore she is against any kind of inequality, because everything has to be inclusive. And so really from 2020, and that's why I've talked about this square to Pluto the whole way through, all through 2020, 2021 and 2022 until October, Eris is going to be continuing to square Pluto. Pluto is currently at 27 of Capricorn, but what happens in this last week of June, I'm going to get to the new moon in a moment, during that last week in June, Mars comes to conjunct Eris, as I say, and energize all of that energy around the goddess of chaotic creation. And Eris is the archetype that really, I think, together with Uranus, has really galvanized a lot of the protests and etc. demonstrations we've seen over the last few years, standing for individual rights. But running up in that clash to Pluto, Pluto in Capricorn is about government, top-down, rules and regulations, etc. So that's been the clash. Mars comes into an exact square with Pluto on the 1st of July. So it is essentially energizing this Eris-Pluto square that has continued since 2020. It's giving it another kick, if you like, another burst. So it is willful. It's potentially impulsive, particularly because Mars is out of bounds. It's hot. It's also, as it gets into that exact square with Pluto again, it's about might makes right, power plays, assertion of power. And that can be in your own individual life, or it can be on the world stage. And as I say, it's individual versus government very much that's coming up with this square. So see where this falls in your chart, where the 25 of Aries falls in your chart, see where 27 of Capricorn falls. That's a much slower moving aspect, as you know, because Pluto spends anywhere between 13 and 33 years in a sign, but it's this square that's being really activated right now. So this is going to be even interesting. So let me now share with you the chart for the new moon in Cancer. So here we go. As always, I've set this for England because this is where I live. But this new moon in Cancer, which is at 7:22 of Cancer, actually happens Pacific time, 7:52 p.m. And as you will see here, it happens in the UK, 3:52 a.m. British summertime. So always remember, with the new moon, it is the perfect time to set a new intention for what you want to manifest in your life. So see where 7:22 falls in your chart and make your intention conditioned by the house area where that falls. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can download a free birth chart from my website. Go to the link in the description below and you can get a 2-part video series from my stall that will explain how to find these points in your chart for every update I ever do. So as I say, here we can see it. I've put Eris out here because this was looking a little bit crowded, but Eris is at 2 minutes off 25 degrees and Mars is here at 25:40, but it comes to exactly conjunct Eris on the 27th. But we'll really be feeling this for the whole lot of the last week of June. So very strong assertive energy. Another aspect which is very tight here is the sun and moon always together at a new moon is conjunct black moon Lilith at 8:34 of Cancer. And in the last couple of videos, I've talked a lot about black moon Lilith. In the full supermoon video, I talked about her symbolism, because I rarely mention her actually, but also in the conversation with David about the solstice. The Cancer solstice, I talk about black moon Lilith. And I'm only talking about her this month because she is being so incredibly highlighted. Again, the new moon is shining on her. Now, as I've mentioned in the conversation with David, black moon Lilith spends 9 months in each sign, which is interesting because that's the period of human gestation. It's also in the sign of Cancer, which is the sign of motherhood, pregnancy, babies, all of that, children, etc. So this whole area, and I talked about the myth much more fully in those previous 2 videos, but it's also about society's deepest, darkest secrets. You know, she's linked to Kali in Indian philosophy, Indian myth, and pretty murky stuff. So it's interesting that this light of the new moon is being shone on that. And because in myth she was very linked to pregnancy, sadly in myth many of her children were killed, so in revenge it is said allegedly in the myth she had attacked pregnant women and caused stillbirths and miscarriages. So what's very interesting, as I've mentioned previously, is that how this is all coming up so strongly with what's happening in the US with the Roe versus Wade potential decision by the Supreme Court, which I understand has to take place by the 28th of June, which is when this new moon is happening. And this new moon at 7 of Cancer and also black moon Lilith herself, they are conjunct Jupiter in the US chart, which is the chart ruler of the US chart because it has a Sagittarius ascendant. And also, you may know that the sun in that US chart is also in Cancer. So this is, I think, very interesting. And as I understand it, if the Supreme Court overturns the Roe versus Wade ruling, they will then send that decision back to the individual states. But clearly, it is an extremely emotional issue on all sides. And in the past, I've talked about the similarity, the parallels of Eris and black moon Lilith. They are clearly both feminine energies. They are, particularly in black moon Lilith in Cancer, they are wild, raw, instinctive, absolutely uncompromising. archetypes. Absolutely uncompromising. They will take no opposition. They will fight to the end for their principles. And I think that's very interesting too at this time. They very much obey natural law and respect natural law, but not man-made law. And again, I think that's very interesting considering what is potentially unfolding here. So very strong aspects. And in addition, similar to the solstice, because we're very close to the solstice here, Jupiter in Aries is squaring very, very tightly within what 4 minutes. The sun and the moon, and also squaring Black Moon. So Jupiter is expanding all of that potential emotion. Cancer, it's an emotional water sign around those issues, because Cancer is par excellence the sign of motherhood. It's empathetic, it's sensitive, it's very much wanting to protect those we love. Think of the shell of the crab that's the symbol for Cancer, you know, wanting to feel physically secure, emotionally secure, wanting to very much protect the family and those people in your life that you love. So this, it has great sensitivity and again femininity. It's female, obviously, but we also have this very strong yang energy. Mars is highlighted, Pluto is highlighted as well. I think we're going to see quite a lot of drama, dare I say, running through this month. And another aspect that's very important to talk about is Neptune, which has a very different quality, is becoming stationary retrograde that very day, the 28th. And we'll feel that a week before and a week after, because whenever planets change direction, particularly the outer planets, are like a huge ship kind of slowing to a standstill and then stationing before it slowly moves off again. So the symbolism is always magnified. So another water sign here, Pisces, Neptune the ruler. So Neptune in Pisces magnified is at its highest level of expression. It's about wanting a greater spirituality in our life, a greater idealism, living in a spiritual context, maybe even in a spiritual community, actually. Having a daily connection with the divine, a connection with oneness, a connection with source. It's this kind of blending with something much higher. But at a lower level of expression, with any potential drama that's going on, this is about confusion. It's about any issues related to drugs or viruses or diseases or toxicity or water. Pisces very much linked to water, any toxicity within the water. Neptune also always has the meaning of secrets, and at its lowest level is connected to deception, things not being as they seem, or things not being as certain people don't want you to perceive, as it were. So a lot of sensitivity around there as well. So this is a very different quality of energy to the very yang energy that I've been talking about. But inevitably, I think we are likely to see quite a lot of drama, and also because Uranus here is well within orb of a conjunction to the North Node. That will become exact with Mars. It's a triple conjunction, and that will become exact on the 1st of August, but from the 3rd week of July into that 1st week of August. Mars, Uranus, North Node. This is, I'll talk more about it as we get closer, but this is, again, dramatic potentially. It's impulsive, it's eruptive, it's explosive. There'll be all kinds of drama going on around cyber currencies, internet, banking, new digital developments. Could be a huge wave of truth and awakening at that time, massive wave of truth and awakening. But that, as I say, is a little further down the track. But nevertheless, this is well within orb. The North Node is our collective future destiny, where we're headed. Inevitably, that is going to be more digital. With Uranus there. Uranus is all about internet, but it's also about higher mind. It's about the galactics. It's really going to jump us to a higher truth and a higher state of being. So it has some incredibly positive, exciting, and fast aspects. You know, we are going to be moving in quantum jumps into that higher mind this year. I think that is so, so exciting. And yet there's going to be some tough stuff to navigate for sure. But if we stay in our eagle's perch, we'll be in a very good position to deal with that. So those are the main things really that I see coming out of this Cancer new moon. There will be drama. The reason I talk about the US quite a lot is because whatever happens in the US is going to ricochet across the rest of the world. This is the year of the US Pluto return, and although that's going to continue to ricochet on for several years, this is the year of exactitude for that US Pluto return. Transiting Pluto becomes exact to US natal Pluto last February. This July, we're moving into that now, and again in December. This is the year of exactitude. And transiting Pluto currently is within minutes of that US Pluto. So it's going to become exact again for the second time in July. That US Pluto, I've got a video on that. Again, I'll put that link below. But because it sits in the second house, in Capricorn, obviously in the second house of the country's chart, this is going to create a revolution, really, and potentially a spiritual transformation for the US. That's going to be financial, economic, it's very likely to be political, constitutional, because it's in Capricorn. It could well be geographic, what is going to form the US going forwards, what are their values going forwards. It's in the second house of that country's chart of values as well. But what's so interesting right now, and why I'm spending a bit of time on it, is whatever happens in terms of Black Moon Lilith and the developments there this month in the US, and the effect that has. Remember, the full moon in full supermoon in Sagittarius was about our freedoms and our rights. You know, these are key ingredients for that US Pluto return of spiritual radical transformation, and not only for that country, but again, ricocheting across the world. So much happening. We are moving into an incredibly intense 6 months, maybe slightly more than that. Stay on your eagle's perch. You don't have to live in the drama of the 3D. You can observe it and say, yeah, playing out as the astrology anticipated. This is meant to be happening because it's a process. I mean, astrology, my goodness, it gives me so much perspective and so much calm. And whatever is happening in the world, I can step back and say, yep, I will do all that I can, practically, financially, whatever I can do to help people in need, absolutely. But I'm going to keep my frequency high, because that's where I am of most use to the collective, not only to myself, but to the collective. And so therefore, I would really urge you to create what is beautiful for you, but for the earth as well. So whenever you're setting any intention, I've said this recently again, do something to help somebody else every single day, but do something to help the earth too. Every single day. Even if you just wish Gaia love every single day, you celebrate its beauty. You just sing to it. You just hug a tree, whatever it is, in any tiny way. Do something for someone else, even a group of people, and do something for the earth every single day. And those tiny, tiny actions, energies, thoughts, points of focus will really help to accelerate our roll towards New Earth. It's already here. We're on our way. So hope that's helped you. A little bit shorter, as I say, for good reason this time. I will put the links for all those other videos below. I know I'm doing a lot of videos at the moment, but I'm just really hoping that each one helps you in its different way. God bless. Bye for now. If you want more information about my books, videos, teaching videos, etc., just check out my website, pamgregory.com. Bye for now. Don't forget to set a new intention for the new moon in Cancer at the end of the month. God bless.